One of the biggest issues facing the sports industry today is private equity. Private equity firms continue to buy more and more into stakes into different teams and leagues themselves, to expand their portfolios and their ownership portfolios, to include these different teams and leagues and sports assets. Um, the average fan might not know a ton about this situation other than hearing about Live Golf and their ties to the Saudi Arabian government, as well as soccer stars from Europe like Ronaldo and Neymar heading overseas to Saudi Arabia to play for huge sums of money. Um, Ultimately, this has been fairly widely criticized, and I would say that there's probably more bad than good. One of the biggest reasons why this has been bad, especially with the Saudi Arabian government and Live Golf and things like that, is the term sports washing. So as Mark Townsend wrote for Golf Monthly in February of 2022, Live Golf is essentially sports washing through and through. They're trying to cover up the misfortunes and misdoings of the Saudi Arabian government and their poor treatment of people within their country by getting involved in sports and with these big names in the US and Europe, and trying to increase their, basically they want to try to make themselves look better than and cover up what they're doing that's terrible. And this is a huge issue. Another big issue with it is just the fact that they're slowly taking the competitive edge or competitiveness away from these leagues that we love. All of these soccer stars are leaving big European leagues where they'd be competing and playing the others that are the other teams and players that are the best in the world, to go play in Saudi Arabia in a league that's far less competitive and less visible to people in America as well as around the world other than in Saudi Arabia. The same can be said for Live Golf, where one of the biggest issues with it was just that it split the PGA Tour and took a large portion of the big names that we would see playing on the PGA Tour every weekend. Another bad thing is just the idea of college sports and how that's going to be involved with it. We talked about this week how Florida State is looking to increase their public equity influence on their university, just to be able to potentially get themselves out of their ACC deal, as well as the fact that public equity firms are looking to potentially even go as far as creating a conference, and pooling enough money to be able to buy all of the best teams historically out of their respective conferences. On the one hand, this would be good because it would be entertaining, but it would really be poor because it would essentially ruin college sports as we know it and take away all of these rivalries that we know and love, and really it would hurt the vast majority of the other schools that lose out on these big names, even though it would certainly help a few of them if they're lucky enough to be part of that group that would be in the new conference. Overall, I also would say that there are other positives about it, such as the fact that people are getting more opportunities to get involved with sports. There's more and more opportunities for minority ownership for these public equity firms to increase their money stake in all of these teams, just as team valuations continue to go up and up. And we don't really see that ending anytime soon and regressing. It seems like those valuations should only continue to rise. But while there is some good, like I mentioned, overall it seems like public equity has more problems and issues that it's causing than it does that it's good. Ultimately, just because it's taking away from the competition and decreasing that competitiveness that we love, and it's also being used by many to sports wash and cover up some very bad things that should not be happening.